All right, we're back to the Reddit post. I'm trying to see what real estate agents are out there saying, giving my value and my input, seeing how I can respond to it. Hopefully it helps you all. So let's just get straight into it. No wasting time here. All right, social media posting ROI, question mark. Newly minted agent. I'm curious for those specifically who post on socials. How often do you post a week? What kind of posts produce the best results for followers, comments, reposts, actual leads? Which channel produces the best results? Instagram, Facebook, TikTok? What level of quality, phone camera or pro level cameras? Do you hire anybody to help? Where do you get inspiration for your post? Before I read what anybody else has said about this, I think it'll be interesting for me to just give my thoughts and opinions on this. First question being, how often do you post a week? Now I'm going to reframe this question and ask, how often should you be posting a week? And that really just depends on what type of content you are doing. Now, my good, area, my good target realm is going to be anywhere from 4 to 8 posts a week. Like, that's actually doable for most people. And if done right, it can actually get you extremely good results. Now, if you want to post more, like balls to the wall, just straight up volume. If you're one of those agents who can post like 16, 20 times a week, then hey, go for it. More power to you. I actually believe the more volume that you put out, the more that you will get out from it. So if you are one of the ones who can post at an extremely high rate, then go for it, right? But being that not many people can, or let me rephrase that. A lot of people can, they just won't do it. I think 4 to 8 posts is usually that good spot where you can actually get a lot of great posts and a lot of great results from it just by posting consistently at that volume. All right, what kind of posts produce the best results for followers, comments, reposts, actual leads? I'll break that down. Let's start with followers, right? What kind of posts produce the best results for followers? Well, that's going to be the posts that are usually more entertainment focused. It's going to be the posts where it's usually more not centered on a specific niche audience, which I heavily agree with. So if you aren't necessarily targeting your audience or a right audience, then you'll usually get a huge amount of followers come to you and give you that following, right? Just because you didn't necessarily know who you were speaking to. And therefore you spoke to everybody and everybody perceived you that way. Now, if we're talking about what gets you the most amount of followers in your lane, within your niche, that's a different story. I think at that point, any type of post can take off as long as you are speaking to your target audience and as long as you are giving them what they want to see, telling them what they want to hear and speaking their language. I believe any post can blow up depending on the audience and depending on how you give that information away. When it comes to comments, what kind of posts produce the best results for comments? Well, I'm going to go on a whim here and say the ones that produce the most and best type of comments are going to be the ones where you hit your CTA correctly and strategically, where you actually give the people, your audience, a next step, an actionable step that they can take to get more information about whatever you're talking about. Actually telling them in the video or in the caption to comment a specific word to get something out of this, right? Now, that's the more strategic way to go about it, right? But if we're talking about more comments just in general, like any type of comments that don't necessarily always lead to more business, then in that case, those type of posts will usually be the ones that trigger a certain type of emotion from everybody who's watching that really leads them to say, this is how I felt about this video. Whether it be something as simple as laughing emojis or something as complex of them telling a story relating to that video in the comment section, right? But it's usually going to be a type of video. I'm not saying there's a specific type. That at that point, it just depends on what exactly you did with that video and what was the idea behind the video. But generally speaking, it's usually going to be those videos that make somebody feel something. Laughter, happiness, right? Sadness, anger. Those types of videos will trigger the most comments, generally speaking. Now, if you're, again, talking about strategically speaking, where you're actually going to get more business from these comments, well, those are going to be the ones where you actually give them a direct CTA, call to action to do within your comment section. What kind of posts produce the best results for repost? Reposts are usually going to be the actions that your followers take or that your viewers take when they relate to something heavily. It's always going to come back to relatability, because they're not going to repost something that they don't necessarily relate to or agree with or, want their followers to see. A repost literally signifies that this is a post that I would have posted if it wasn't theirs, right? That's all it says. Like, this is a post that I can relate to. This is something that, I find interesting and I would have posted, but I didn't and I can't. So therefore, I'm going to repost yours. That's exactly what that says. So those types of posts are usually going to be the ones that people just relate to. In terms of real estate content, it's kind of hard to pin one that, screams that everybody relates to that. But thinking about it, and I've never thought about this, by the way, it's usually going to be those posts where It's like a neighborhood tour or a local event or something happening within your city type of post, right? Because not everybody is necessarily going to relate to you showing a 3-bed, 2-bath home that's in this specific area. They don't have a reason to repost that unless they just like reposting homes at that point, right? But if you actually want something where somebody says, I can actually relate to this, well, it's usually going to be those types of talks or posts that scream, hey, this is my city. I've done this too, or I want to do this. I like this neighborhood too. I like this event too. I like going to this place too. Those type of posts, we call them hyper local posts. Those aren't necessarily talking about the real estate and property themselves, but it's talking about what's happening around the city that people can relate to. It's still targeting your audience, but it's more so targeting them by their location instead of their needs. That's what that is. I am cooking up something today. I've never touched on that, by the way. Repost is interesting. Now, what kind of posts produce the best results for actual leads? I'm not going to say a very specific type of post or a few of them. Obviously, I am a fan of a few formats because I think they get the best results, but I will reiterate this as much as I humanly possibly can. I don't care if you get sick of it or not, right? I'm going to keep on saying it. The best kind of posts to get the actual leads coming to you and hitting your DMs are going to be the posts where you give them what they want to see, you tell them what they want to hear, you speak their language, and you meet them where they are. And I've explained exactly how to do that in those 4 steps in other videos. I've explained it quite a bit, actually. But getting leads from your content is really just understanding your audience and catering towards that. That's all that is, right? It's not going to be, doing a specific format that works better than this one. It's not going to be trying this hook or trying this, or even getting a videographer to do your work for you to up the production rate, right? It's not going to be any of those little things that people like to talk about, myself included sometimes, but it's usually going to be what you're actually giving your audience. That's what's going to get the actual leads to come to you. So it's not necessarily the kind of post, what kind of posts get the best results for actual leads, but it's just what exactly are you doing within those posts, right? It's a you problem, not a posting problem. Now, which channel produces the best results? Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, they all do. If you learn how to master each one of those, if you actually put effort, brute force effort into each and every single one of those, or just one of them at a time, right? Eventually, if you figure out the algorithm itself, then it'll work. All right. It's not necessarily which platform works best because different people have different answers, right? Some agents may say Instagram works better for them, whereas TikTok works better for others. Now, I will say TikTok is probably, objectively speaking, the easiest to figure out just because, they're so good at pushing out content, no matter how many followers you have, to a specific audience, as long as you target them correctly. I will say they are a little bit easier to figure out, but Instagram and Facebook, the meta apps, those work well too. And if you figure those out, then I believe those have a little bit more longevity, right? I say TikTok is usually good for the most reach, and Instagram and Facebook is usually good for the better quality of leads, I would like to say. Yeah, I don't know. It could be indifferent, not sure, but all those platforms, they usually work as long as you work it. What level of quality, phone camera or pro level cameras? Now, I will say I'm very strict on this one, right? I'm a very pro phone camera type of guy rather than a pro level camera type of guy. And by the way, I have a pro camera. I have a couple of them. I'm using one right now, but I'm not going out there and shooting real estate with it because I don't think that's necessary. Unless, right, you can use it with your YouTube videos. If you are the type of person to post YouTube videos and actually get leads from that, then sure, YouTube, it works fine with that. But even then, you don't want the actual production itself so produced where it's just like, okay, this isn't, this seems like a TV show rather than a person trying to help me out. It feels like I can't even reach out to them because they seem so overly produced. So if you are going to go that direction with YouTube, then just be a little bit careful of how much production value you put above the actual value within the video. Now, if you can put as much value in the video as possible and actually give them what they want to see, tell them what they want to hear, all while working the heck out of your pro level camera, by all means, do whatever you want, right? You don't have to listen to me at that point. When it comes to social media, like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever the case may be, then yeah, 100% pro phone camera all day, every day. Phone camera beats out pro level camera any day of the week, even drones, right? If you're a drone type of person, if you like using drones within your social media posts, I believe your phone camera works 10 times better than drones at this point. At this moment in time, speaking right now, 2026, August 2026, your phone camera is the literal best thing that you have. It's a gold mine. You don't have to go out there and buy a camera. You don't have to go out there and buy a drone. All of these are just good accessories to have. They make you the cool guy, sure, but it's not going to get you any better results that you're hoping to get from it compared to if you just use your phone camera. let it be known. Do you hire anybody to help? No, you don't have to hire anybody. You can just join my community if you want. You can literally just join my community and learn how to do it yourself. By the way, that is good for the long run, and you'll get way more of an asset by doing that. You will have an asset at your hands all the time, rather than just always hire somebody out to do it for you, who, by the way, isn't guaranteed to get you results. Just saying. Look, don't come at me. That was the perfect time to plug my community. All right. Link in the description, by the way. Where do you get inspiration for posts? Okay, well, you just see what works out there. You see what works. If you aren't, somebody who's in my community or already knowing what exactly to post every single week, then at that point, you get out there and see what works already. And when I say that, I don't always mean look at the videos that have the most views and likes, right? Try and look at those comments and say, hey, can I get more info about this? Hey, I DM'd you. Look for the comments like that, because I guarantee views and likes don't always tell the full story. They don't. And if you really can't tell the difference, right, don't be afraid to DM these real estate agents. Say, hey, how much business did this video get you? And if you want to take it a step further, right, you got to look for the outliers. Let's say a video does pop up on your feed of another real estate agent that made a video that happened to do well in terms of those metrics, views, likes, comments, shares, whatever the case may be. It looks like from the outside eye, being you, that video did well. You're going to go on their page. You're going to see how many followers they have. Then you're going to see how much posts do they have up. And then you're going to see of those posts, which are the ones that actually got a greater average of views compared to everything else on their page. So let's say they have 1,000 followers and their average views is like 700 views a video. And let's say a couple videos happen to get like 12,000 views compared to the 700 usual. You're going to look and see what exactly they did within that video, whether it was the hook, the format, the SEO within the video, whatever it could be. You're just going to see why, or at least try to see why it worked. And at that point, you're going to take those things and apply it to your own videos. I'm not necessarily saying steal their video idea. Unless you want to, you can try it. But the usual reason a video does so well is always going to come down to just a few little things that many people, is always going to be those little things that makes a video actually blow up in relation to what they already have going for them. So yeah, just learn to look for those outliers, and I think you'll be fine when it comes to finding inspiration for your post. Honestly, I think that concludes the video. I'm not even going to read these replies. I think just skimming through them, they're all right. There's people telling their stories about how many followers they have and the great things that they've done. So it's not much controversy that I was hoping for, so I can address. But I mean, these replies are all right. Plus, I feel like I just gave away all the value already. And so whatever I say and relevance to these comments that are under this post is probably just going to be me repeating stuff. So that concludes it. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you stayed this long, I appreciate you so much. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe so you don't miss another one. I'm dropping bangers every single week, and I would hate for you to miss any of that, especially if you are trying to make social media your #1 lead generation source the most chill way possible. All right, I will see y'all in the next one. Go be great.